When they are dictatorial, I would say they are dictatorial. I would also have to, on the other side, indicate that they are non-communists and that they are not enemies of the United States.
No prior president has ever abased himself more abjectly before a tyrant. Not only did President Trump fail to speak the truth about an adversary, but speaking for America, our president failed to defend all that makes us who we are, a republic of free people dedicated to the cause of liberty at home and abroad. American presidents must be the champions of that cause if it is to succeed.
Unless we work with other nations under the mantle of international norms and principles and law that offer legitimacy to our efforts, we will not succeed. But in today's world, dictatorships are unstable. Strong men of today become the spark of revolution tomorrow.
What kind of a nation wants to be associated with the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children? The nations of the world can be judged by the friends they keep.
These children were in a minibus full of students heading back from a school summer camp in northern Yemen. At the scene of an airstrike by the Saudi Emirati coalition, body parts are strewn around. A man holds a torn body of a child. What is his guilt? What is his crime, he wonders. Why target these students? This is the work of the American-Saudi coalition airstrike. They are school children. Why? We will seek revenge no matter what, he says.
Ask you about this airstrike in Yemen, which appears to have killed dozens of children. They do that with weapons supplied by the U.S., with training supplied by the U.S., and with targeting information supplied by the U.S. How can something like this happen?
Okay, I can't confirm all the details because we are not there on the ground. We can say that we're certainly concerned about these reports that resulted, that there was an attack that resulted in the deaths of civilians. We call on the Saudi-led coalition to conduct a thorough and transparent investigation into the incident and urge all parties to investigate all reported incidents of civilian casualties. So we regret any loss of civilian life. That is something that the United States government, in particular, anytime you talk to the Department of Defense about civilian casualties, they will say the same thing. In Yemen, you have the Houthi rebels who continue to attack Saudi Arabia. They continue to do that with Iranian weapons, missiles, and rockets. They continue to try to attack civilian infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, for example, and that is part of the reason why these actions are being taken. We provide a tremendous amount of humanitarian assistance in Yemen to try to support civilians in Yemen and try to mitigate against the devastation that's taken place there in that country. Yeah. I don't have anything more for you on that.
But you also supply a tremendous amount of weaponry and the data for targeting to the Saudis.
Well then, but as you know, Saudi Arabia is an important strategic partner in the region to the United States. Yes. We believe that all people, especially children, should be treated humanely and fairly, and their human rights should be respected. Our position has not changed. But as you know, Saudi Arabia is an important strategic partner in the region to the United States.
It's really important that all of us understand the difference between policy and values.
That is who we are. We uphold our most cherished values, not only because doing so is right, but because it strengthens our country and it keeps us safe. Time and again, our values have been our best national security asset.
Guiding all of our foreign policy actions are our fundamental values.
That is who we are.
Our values around freedom, human dignity, the way people are treated. Those are our values. Those are not our policies. Policies can change. Policies change to adapt to the circumstances. And in some circumstances, if you condition our national security efforts on someone adopting our values, we probably can't achieve our national security goals. Policy engagements on people adopting certain actions as to how they treat people. They should. We should demand that. But that doesn't mean that's the case in every situation.
And we handle conversations with different governments differently about sensitive matters. We don't take the same approach with every single government, the kinds of conversations we have.
U.S. President Barack Obama's administration has so far offered Saudi Arabia over $115 billion in arms and military training. The offers have been made to Saudi Arabia since Obama took office in January 2009. They include a broad range of weapons. Rights groups and some U.S. congressmen have recently criticized the White House for providing armaments to Saudi Arabia, especially after a spike in the number of casualties in Yemen.
Think that this new law affects the equality of all people
Matt,
under the law?
you know very well that we don't comment on other countries' legislation or even pending legislation, okay?
As you said this, I can think of laws in Hungary and Poland and Turkey, and that's just off the top of my head that you guys have opined on regularly. It's not true that you don't comment on other countries' laws. When other countries' laws you find problematic or concerning or offensive or whatever, you regularly speak out on them. So I'm just going to assume, I guess, that you don't have a problem with this
Matt,
law
no,
in Israel because-
don't ever assume anything. When we talk about equality and how equality is something that America stands for, I would stand firmly behind that comment. So don't assume anything, okay?
I'm
don't
not
assume
assuming
anything, okay?
about the
Fi-
US.
fi-
I'm trying to figure out what you think,
Final,
if anything,
final
about the
question.
law in Israel.
Jenny.
The CIA began claiming the whole credit for the counter-coup, suggesting it was their dollars rather than the Shah's popularity that had brought the people out on the streets. After 1953, America became a major player in Iran, pouring in aid and military advisors and helping to set up a secret police known as SAVAK. Human rights groups were flooded with lists of prisoners' names. They began to investigate and publicize claims of the detention, torture, and execution of political prisoners in Iran.
Because of the great leadership of the Shah, is an island of stability in one of the more troubled areas of the world.
I directed that an approach be made to both the State Department and Mr. Kissinger's office to tell them that we had grave concern over the outlook for ITT's investment, and we were desirous of discussing our thoughts in Washington and willing to assist financially in any government plan to help protect private American investment in Chile.
Allende was overthrown eventually, not because of anything that was done from the outside, because his system didn't work in Chile.
You were prepared to put up the $1 million in support of a government plan for the purpose of bringing about a coalition of the opposition to Allende.
That's correct, Mr. Senator.
Washington embraced the Pinochet regime, even as it became one of the world's most repressive military dictatorships.
We've been the nation that has shut down torture chambers and replaced tyranny with the rule of law. That is who we are.
The nations of the world can be judged by the friends they keep.
That is who we are.
I know that President Rios Montt is a man of great personal integrity and commitment. I know he wants to improve the quality of life for all Guatemalans and to promote social justice. Long looking forward to returning the hospitality you showed us on our 1969 visit to your country.
Judged
Our two
by the
peoples enjoy a
friends they
close
keep.
friendship, one forged in shared history and common ideals.
Judged
The Philippines
by the friends
and you,
they
Mr. President,
keep.
play an important role in addressing the problems of economic development in the world. Your leadership at home, the Philippines can boast a record of solid economic growth over the past decade, attributable in significant part to its hospitable attitude toward free enterprise and private initiative. Your country's dedication to improving the standard of living of your people is an effort in which we've been delighted to participate.
That is who we
bilateral
are.
and multilateral economic assistance. Mr. President, Mrs. Marcos, the United States deeply values its close friendship
Judged
and alliance
by the
with
friends
the
they
Philippines.
keep.
We seek to use this visit to further strengthen our ties with your country.
Biographic sketch from the U.S. Southern Command. Montesinos has been confronted with numerous allegations of human rights abuses. It has been reported that he officially sanctioned assassinations and torture of suspected terrorists and political opponents.
People will disappear. Incredible cases of extortion, torture.
Officially, Montesinos is Deputy Director of the National Intelligence Service. Unofficially, he may be the most important player in the Fujimori government.
Claro, definitivamente claro, se usa para otro tipo de cosas, de otro tipo. Para lo otro, hay sí, que salga esta mañana, y no tengo con qué tapar.
Everything that Montesinos did had to have the approval of Fujimori.
Judged by the
Uzbek
friends they
dictator
keep.
Islam Karimov has ruled the country for more than 25 years. According to human rights organizations, he's responsible for the imprisonment of as many as 10,000 political and religious dissidents.
Judged by the friends they keep.
There's no suggestion that anything will be done to punish Egypt for this. The flow of $1 billion in aid will continue to flow, and I've heard no suggestion, serious suggestion here, that it would be cut off.
Judged by the friends they keep.
We have interagency colleagues who are taking a close look, both in the field, in Israel and in Washington, who are taking a look at this.
At what? At his death, or at the allegations that he was a member of Hamas?
That's correct.
Well, that doesn't answer the which one.
The second matter.
It's that it is possible that this guy was actually not a journalist.
It's a serious allegation, and anytime an allegation of that sort is brought up, I think we look at
Well,
it.
the guy is dead.
Yeah. I think that would still be important for us to take a look at that. Okay.
I'm asking questions about it because nobody except for the Israelis and now apparently some part of the U.S. government that is not USAID, which had approved and vetted and approved this guy, say that he was a member of Hamas, but literally nobody else says that.
Matt, I can just tell you,
So-
I don't have any updates for you, but it is something that we are looking into.
So when journalists are imprisoned in Turkey, I'm going to ask you about the journalists that the president of Ecuador says were executed by Colombia.
Doesn't
You
immediately
condemn
come to my
attacks
mind.
against
Yeah.
you condemn attacks against the press
Yes, I do.
that are far less
Yes, I
than actual death. So I need to know what exactly is the position, what exactly the U.S. government position is on this, because if your friend and ally Israel did, for whatever reason, kill a working journalist, then it should be condemned, correct?
Matt, we are collecting information on the situation. We are assessing it very carefully. All of this is obviously a very serious situation. When I have an update for you, I would be happy to bring it to
But
you.
you would condemn a country, no matter what it is, no matter what country it is, killing a working journalist, would you not?
Matt, I will get back to you on this.
I mean, look, if you want to have
Matt,
a policy,
it's a
if you want,
obviously
if the
a
administration
complicated
wants
situation.
to have a policy
It's a
that
complicated situation. We are looking into all of this to try to assess what the person was doing.
if it is Israel can do no wrong and we will never criticize them, then, well, okay, that's the policy. But you should come out and say that's what the policy is.
Importance of freedom of religion, human rights, fair trials, and all of those other things and ideals that the United States government holds near and dear to our hearts.
That
all
is
of
who
those
we
things
are.
consistently in all our diplomatic conversations.
Don't address it when it comes to when it comes to Israel. Why is that?
Look, that is a very sensitive matter, and we handle conversations with different governments differently about sensitive matters.
But you cannot turn a lie into truth. It is not a conspiracy of U.S.-backed NGOs that expose corruption and raise the expectations of people around the globe.
We are now told, despite these words about the principles that distinguish us as a nation, that we not only interfered for the purpose of bringing down that government in an elaborate covert action policy by the CIA, but that we were justified in doing it, if I understood the president correctly, because the Russians do it.
You think about the people who all around the world are living under tyrants, who are living in tyranny, who are imprisoned for speaking out, who have traditionally looked to the United States as, what Reagan, referenced as a shining city on a hill, and who look to the United States to at least speak truth to power, to raise human rights, to stand tall in the face of tyranny, and that you don't hear that from the United States now.